Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be working on this old Game Boy Pocket. In the end, this is how the Game Boy Pocket looked like. But before that, we'll be starting from this part here. What I have here is the Game Boy shell, the motherboard, the screen, and the backlight, as well as the bivert chip on the top right hand corner. I've already gone ahead and uninstalled the screen and desoldered the ribbon cable. So once you desolder the ribbon cable from the screen, you're able to have easier access when cleaning the glass. When installing the backlight for the Game Boy Pocket as well as the older first generation Game Boy, we first remove the two polarizer film, one in the front and the back. And when you do that, it leaves a bit of glue residue, and so we need to clean that up. I'm using a blade, alcohol, and Q-tip, and slowly just rub off the residue from the screen. It takes a bit of time, but it is all worth it when the screen is nice and clean and clear in the end of the project. The next step is flipping the screen over and removing the glue residue on the other side. And the same process applies here using the Q-tip, blade, and a bit of Windex as well. It really helps in removing all that glue residue. Once we clean the screen, we can solder back the ribbon cable to the other ribbon cable on the screen as shown. Once we got the screen back together, we will start on the bivert chip installation. The first step is getting the motherboard and flipping it over like so. The next step is to go into the motherboard of the Game Boy Pocket and cut this section here. You can cut the traces using a blade or sharp edge and just etch it out. So looking at the PCB, I've labeled the connections to the motherboard and where the associated connections on the bivert chip. Looking at the chip, just connect the wires as shown, and I've used a really tiny wire on this project, but I think it should work. This is how it should look in the end. Hopefully yours will look a little bit neater. And after putting all the wires in order and trying to clean it up, this is what I have. I've placed the bivert behind the speaker. This is how it looked like in the front. Now that we got that set up, we will connect the screen to the motherboard. Let's do that right now. Okay, now we put this on here. Now we're just gonna have to test it out, so let's do that. The next step is installing the backlight. We first connect the ground wire to that lower pin there, as so. Next, we connect this resistor. I don't know what rating it is. The resistor is used to lower the brightness of the backlight LED. Lowering the brightness of the LED saves battery life as well. Now we take the screen that we just cleaned a while back, and we are now putting it or connecting it to the motherboard. Now we put in the screen. I'm gonna save you guys some time of me fiddling with it, so I'm fast forwarding it here. We didn't remove, so we've installed the screen. We now remove the plastic protection for the back lens. We put this over here. All right, we do a test. We put this then we put another lens here. Then we just do a test. So it looks like it works. Let's turn this off. It looks like it turns off. So it looks like it works so far. There is some noise though. All right, now we're going to put this screen in. Flip this over. Already have the buttons on here. All right. We'll put the last. Make sure you put the lens. Clean it up. Put the cover here. Put the screen in. Then we put in the backlight and fast forwarding it. Now we'll put back the motherboard, and next we will put in the screen ribbon cable up there. Now I'm not gonna bore you with me messing around with it here, but there's some loose connection or maybe some dust on the screen which I needed to remove, or maybe the Game Boy just doesn't turn on, so I open it up back again, refiddle with the screen, and actually this goes on for quite some time. I did a little bit of cutting here, but used up a few hours actually messing around with this Game Boy. One of the problems that occurred was that there was a bit of static, and I had to open the Game Boy again, try to figure that out. Another thing that used up a lot of my time was once I installed the screen, there was a vertical line that I could not for the life of me remove it. People say you can use a hot air the solder and just touch the ribbon cables on the bottom of the screen, and I did that a couple of times, but in the end I damaged the one of the wires, and this resulted in, as you can see, the I removed the lines, but then I damaged the pixels column in that area, which you can see in the video there. So we have come to the end of this video, and I say this was a lot of fun. There was a lot of hiccups on this project. One of the main reasons why I had to disassemble and assemble the Game Boy over and over again, which caused me to waste a lot of time, was because of the static noise that was showing up on the screen. and for a while there I thought it was due to the signal of the audio being the bivert so close to the speaker. So I had to relocate the bivert chip on the front of the screen underneath on the front of the shell underneath the screen. Another thing that I did not mention but showed up a couple times was due to the thickness of the added backlight. There was a bit of blemish on the screen that would occur when I closed the shell, and this was due to a bit of pressure that was being applied to the screen with the new thickness of the backlight. I had to fiddle with that a couple times as well. Overall, though, I've learned a lot with this project in regards to improving my planning of assembly and disassembly of parts, being more patient, and also never give up until the project is finished, which I did. Even though there are some problems with this Game Boy, I think it turned out well. And anyway, thank you for those who lasted this far, and see you next time.